restricts the whole process to job-specific skills other than the holistic nature of work-related education that brings into life the whole issue of essential, generic, emotional intelligence, and so on. So the current challenge is the restriction to job-specific skills in the name of work education, and that's narrow, according to our group. The second point is limited resources which impact access and quality. In our view, limited resources include limited finances that employers are willing to invest in the education of their workers, the time they are prepared to give the workers to attain the skills they need to work, because to them, production is so important. If the education and training is not directly connected with production, so it's not an issue. So time and money on the part of the employee and the employers. But also the question of personnel, the personnel which have the capacity, the willingness, the will, the spirit to do good quality workers' education was an issue that we identified. The third issue that we identified is the clientele, the clients, or the target group for workers' education. The issue of migrant workers, the refugees, the young graduates, and all those other groups of people who are ordinarily excluded from mainstream discourses is an issue according to our group. Then the issue of the changing nature of work, which keeps employees at their toes to get the skills they need to work, is another challenge that we identified. As jobs change, new skills are required. But the circumstances that are in place to provide these skills is an issue that we identified. And then the other issue is the perception and attitude of decision makers in employing companies on if you train an employee, does this employee retain and reserve the right to move on to another job, or he has to be retained in that position? So the democracy and the rights involved in this whole business of workers' education, work-related education is another issue that we identified. And then the marginal status of the personnel in this field is another issue that we identified. We went ahead to look at the suggestions which ICAE can take on the next 4 years. We are suggesting that ICAE should widen its engagement net to interact more with international agencies, including the UN family, important institutions like the International Labour Organization, World Health Organization, and others, so that influence. And then their suggestion is the creation of a virtual platform to make the conversation continue flowing, other than the one-off meeting that we can have at the end of the 4 years. We thought there would be a need to have a virtual kind of platform. The third suggestion is building the capacity of personnel in work-related education, adult educators. There was a suggestion about IALLA, but also there is this innovation to think about the different training arrangement and facilities within our international networks like AWANTAS, like the European Association. There are quite a number of initiatives that are intended to promote and build the capacity of adult education practitioners. So ICAE should take on that. Then to embed our message and case for work-related education with the economic argument, apparently our group thought that the rights-based approach that we seem to push needs a balance with the economic argument, because we cannot completely ignore the instrumental value of worker education. So as a strategy, we need to embed the economic argument, which is supported by cost-benefit analysis of workers' education. And then another issue came out, and we said, no, we should not leave out this. One member said, seemingly there is a neglect of the over 900 million illiterates. And we said, much as we are dealing with worker-related education, this is an issue which ICAE should not leave behind, because there is a trend to ignore that very important group of citizens in the world. I thank you.